Welcome to this episode of Inside Friendship. I'm your host, Tanner Ramirez. In every show, we introduce you to the people and programs that make Friendship ISD a special place. One of those special people is Friendship Middle School teacher Ida Cisneros. Ms. Cisneros cares about her students and strives hard to reflect the Friendship way.
I am Ida Cisneros, and I am a 6th grade reading language arts teacher at Frenship Middle School. Being the secondary teacher of the year for Friendship ISD was absolutely amazing. I never expected to win, and I just was shocked, absolutely shocked. It's such an honor. I love my district. I love being a Tiger. It's the only place I've ever taught, and so being honored that way by Friendship was amazing. Winning Region 17 was really shocking as well. I didn't even know how to react. Our region has so many school districts in it. Winning the Secondary Teacher of the Year for Region 17 has been just another amazing moment that I didn't expect as a teacher. So I'm just really grateful, and it's been so fun. Hyperbole, very good. I try to teach for the future, not just to remember stuff, but to actually embrace the way that we learn. And I hope that my students learn that process, and as they grow, it becomes natural. This is how we learn, and this is how we think creatively and problem solve and work together. I work really hard to teach with the future in mind. These students are not all, they're not all going to be English majors. In fact, most of them won't, but they're all going to use writing and English in their lives regardless of what they do. And so I try to teach with that in mind. I also try to bring in this element of creativity where students are allowed to pull in their own personalities, their intelligences, and create things and think on higher levels that reflect who they are as learners. I love to write for my kids, and they love reading it, and it's just motivating. And many times I will just let that come out. I have to be comfortable, first of all, sharing myself, sharing my style of writing, and then letting them emulate it. They start with that, and then they take off, and they're like birds out of the nest. They just go, and they become these amazing writers, and their personalities are reflected, and their thought process is reflected, and their creativity is just seen. And I love doing that. I wanted to be a writer, and I feel like a writer every day. And I think what encourages me is that I not only write every day, but I'm inspiring students to write every day as well. I had these mentor teachers who, they worked with me and encouraged me. And Friendship has done that. Friendship has grown me as a teacher. And so I feel like as a teacher being called into the profession, sometimes it's discouraging, and we all have those difficult days. But if you allow yourself to be flexible and malleable, you'll grow, and you will grow even more so into the calling of being a teacher and creating that environment in your classroom that no child wants to leave.
I like to fly from roof.
This whole experience has just been really such a blessing. And I know that there are so many teachers out there who are amazing. And I've had so many mentor teachers in my life, even as a teacher, and they never receive awards like this. And I think, I know that we can't give an award to every single teacher every year, but I just want to encourage them. If you are a young teacher and you don't have a mentor, find a mentor. Find somebody who will pour into your life and encourage you to stay in the profession and grow as a teacher. And if you're a seasoned teacher, find a younger teacher to mentor. Find somebody who you can pour into and grow as a teacher, because we're all in this together, and we're all in this for kids. And it's so important that we work together to keep our school system a wonderful place that produces wonderful students.
The Friendship culinary classes took on a unique challenge to design and create a menu for their very own food truck. Here's a look at what these creative minds came up with.
There's a lot to be gained from the food truck project, but mainly it is team building, to get these kids talking to each other and working together, learning how to be effective team members. So that's really the biggest takeaway. But of course, they learn a little bit more about the food industry while researching food trucks too.
So we're doing like an ice cream truck, and we're currently paint splattering it because the name is Creative Creamery. We all like ice cream, and that's kind of where the idea took off.
All of our spaghetti tacos is from iCarly, and then Krabby Patties, SpongeBob, and it's like orange and green. It's like Nickelodeon, so it's been really fun.
The investor side is my favorite part, and I'm always wanting more investors to come. But this started out last year where, I just kind of thought, well, let's get administrators and staff in here to give their input, and maybe that kind of amps it up for the kids too. Maybe they get excited about showing it off to more than just their peers. And so I try to get as many staff and admin in as I can to come hear their speeches about how they started the food truck and what they did to create it and all that good stuff.
Feel bad for you after school. We also feel bad for you in school too. But during lunchtime from 12 to 1.
A food truck called Drinks on Us, and we just came up with the name kind of like in a clever way, Drinks on Us. When you think of drinks, you think of what you think of, but our food truck is like with Sour Patch smoothies and stuff like that. So we just wanted to really create a drink that no one has created before.
We're doing a Chinese food-themed food truck, and so we have it like red and gold because those are really classic Chinese colors that you find in many restaurants and in many traditional places that involve Chinese culture. And we have a lot of Chinese-inspired foods for our menu.
I love seeing their creativity, honestly. I love seeing them start to get more comfortable, because we usually do this at the beginning of the year and they're real quiet at first and not really talking to each other, and all of a sudden they're a little more comfortable because this class is so group-based. We're going to cook together in the kitchen and be in close quarters, safely, of course, the best we can. But, I love seeing them kind of blossom a little bit and show their creative side with these food trucks.
Mike Rowe on the student organization known as Skills USA.
Well, everybody talks about high unemployment. It seems to me that the real problem is the skills gap. There are opportunities available, millions of them. Skills USA is on the front line. They're encouraging soft skills and specific skills. They're the connective tissue in between the opportunities that exist and the hopes that a lot of parents and kids have for their own future.
Learn more at skillsusa.org and microworks.org.
Skills USA, champions at work.
Watch out!
The first step to stop the bleed is to call 911. For superficial wounds, check the scene, assess the wound, and apply pressure. For deep wounds, check the scene, assess the wound, and pack and apply pressure as needed. For guidelines on how to use a tourniquet and for more information, go to www.stopthebleed.com.
Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Let's go Tigers! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation!
You are watching Friendship.tv.
Bring it.
I'm out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one?
I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
"2020 has given Friendship a lot of challenges to overcome, but the district staff has stepped up to meet those challenges.
Well, you know, one thing that we've dealt with is just with COVID and all the guidelines we've had to maneuver around, you know, and so I've been very proud of our players and our guys that have really stepped up and led during those times when it was hard to get in and get a workout in and be together as a team, you know, during the quarantine. So I was very proud of how our team as a whole handled that. You know, we've really had a lot of time, at least with shorts and t-shirts on, not necessarily with pads, to put some extra time in, and we've utilized that. And so I feel like that's going to be big for us, you know, going into the first game against Coronado.
We've actually been able to still do quite a bit. We can't control anything that's going on, so we just work on things in our gym that we can control. So once we're in here, we just work really hard with the time that we're given. We're not worried about the outside factors. We're just taking it day by day.
Well, the first thing we do is we mask up anytime we're in a group talking and we're closer than 6 feet. So we always have our masks, even out on the field. And when they're not involved in an on-the-field drill, they mask up. We try and stay 6 feet apart when we're not in a drill. Coaches always have their masks. When we do meetings, we try and spread them out 6 feet apart in the meeting room. We have the luxury of a big film room, and we're always got our masks on. We wash their clothes every day. Our custodial staff is the best. Absolute best. They disinfect every day. They clean every day. If the student managers come in my office and sit before they go to class, in between practice and class time, when they leave, Miss Norma comes in and cleans it from top to bottom.
You know, we're following all of the guidelines that has been put up by the UIL and the CDC in terms of athletics. You know, the big one with us is mask and social distancing, and our players have done a good job with the mask, and we're going to continue to do a good job with that. And the big thing is just wearing them and getting used to them. We'll carry them into the games. Obviously, we're not wearing them while we're exercising per se, but we're always required to have them on our person and wear them when we're not exercising. You know, and then the social distancing is the other aspect of that we just got to be conscious of and stay safe.
Overcoming COVID issues isn't just limited to sports, but affects every way a campus operates.
It hasn't been a huge change other than we've tried to really streamline the process. We like to be pretty social here in the hallways. Students love to see each other between classes. So probably the biggest change would be, instead of stopping to talk in the hallways, students are encouraged to just keep moving. So I guess that's the biggest change. In a normal year, or whatever normal is, we've continued to try and get students moving so that traffic moves quicker because we have a big campus. But probably the biggest change would be students not stopping in the hallway as much. And you'll notice if you walk the hallways, there are many arrows down on the floor and on the walls, and we have some stairways that are one way, where only one side of the hallway is up, the other side is down. We do that to try and control traffic flow and limit people's mingling, basically, to try and keep it as safe as possible, to keep traffic flowing smoothly. to keep students from congregating and bunching up in the hallways. And again, our student body has been fantastic in doing that. There have been people, and rightfully so, that have been a little bit nervous about coming back. There's been some hesitation, and of course, it changes the dynamic of the environment with everybody being masked up. You can't see people's faces. It's hard to see them smile. It's difficult to understand one another if you're in a busy place or a crowded area. And I think that's been difficult, especially for those of us that like to talk to one another and say hello. And it's been hard for people like me that I like to shake hands and greet people as they come down the hallway, and that's had to change. And so really that's been one of the larger things that I think have affected how people perceive our environment. But you've also got a handful of teachers, really most all of them that I can think of, that are doing everything they can to make this welcoming despite the things that we have to do. You know, you've probably walked through the hallway with teachers playing music and doing karaoke and dancing and still greeting and letting students know we're happy you're here. And so I really think this is a good example of how our teachers and staff go the extra mile to, no matter what gets thrown their way, what curveball, what obstacle, they will still rise to the occasion and make this place great. I like the streamlined people moving where they need to go. It's cut down on our tardies. People have been getting where they need to go quicker. Traffic's been smooth, flow's been smooth. That's good. I will be glad when we can get back to seeing everybody's faces, seeing smiles, shaking hands, high-fiving. That will be a welcome thing when it comes back.
So in trying to cut down on student interaction, the hallways that are more narrow, we tried to make those more one-way. Not all the hallways are one-way because some of the hallways are wide enough to where the traffic can still happen in areas without kids crammed up against each other. Really, there wasn't any big change. I guess the biggest would be changing the science hallways upstairs and downstairs to where one stairwell is one way, the other stairwell is down. But with our size and everything the way it is, it's really hard to navigate during our passing periods of 6 minutes. So other than that, there hasn't really been any big change.
We're asking students to stay to one side. We ask students to stay to the right, much like elementaries and middle schools have for years. And typically when we got to high school, we kind of forgot about that. But now out of necessity, we've kind of asked students to stay to the right, be sure you have your face covering on, and socially distance as much as possible. Well, from an administrative standpoint, outside of those the planning processes, which we're involved in, we do see some situations where students aren't wanting to wear masks. We have to have that conversation. But by and large, our students have done really well and been very accepting of, hey, I know I got to wear a mask, and really it's not Friendship's rule necessarily, it's the governor's rule. And so we're enforcing what the governor asked us to do, and again, we want to be sure that our students are safe and taken care of. Well, things are different. I mean, you can walk in the hallways and say they're different. I mean, everybody has a mask on now, which is a lot different than what we're used to. If lunches are different, we've opened up more space so we can socially distance at lunch more. We allow students to use the Student Center now. So instead of just everybody in the cafeteria, now we have 2 spots. And they can also go to teacher classrooms during that time if the teacher allows it. And during that time, they spend a lot of time cleaning between lunches to be sure everything's as clean as possible between lunches, and be sure the kids are taken care of. I know we have one custodian that walks around most of the day and continually cleans points of contact, like door handles and things like that. That's his job, is to be sure those things that are high touch contact areas are cleaned, almost continually. Honestly, I hope that we can go back to where they were before COVID. Now, I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I would like for us to just, because the way they were before, we're fine. But if we see that, hey, it really helps traffic flow with our passing periods with everybody being to the right and using one-way hallways and stairs at times, then why wouldn't we keep it? If it's working well and kids adjust to it, why wouldn't we keep it? But again, I would like for this pandemic to be over, but I don't know. I think that's probably unrealistic, but that would be my wish.
Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation! Let's go Tigers! Friendship Nation! Friendship Nation!
Whether you need a hand shopping for groceries, using up scraps, or finishing every bite, Meal Prep Mate can help you plan better and save more. Whether you're a newbie getting your first taste, a meal prepper honing your chops, or a meal prep pro hungry for a challenge, you can learn how to eat smarter, plan better, and save more at every step of meal prep. When you finish every bite, you save. Start prepping with Meal Prep Mate at SaveTheFood.com.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Okay, we are finally here. Football season. I'm ready for football, and I know you are too. But the people who are truly ready to play is the Frenship Tigers.
We are just dying to compete against somebody else. I'm extremely confident in our team's ability to compete. They're competitors, and we have bred that in them. You know, Frenship has always been in a competitive program for as long as I can remember, even when I was recruiting here. And then when I came here, we still had that competitive fire in us, and our kids are hungry. And they always like to compete, and they like to show up well. So competitive and fight and passion is not going to be a problem with these players.
We competed, all through off season. So I've seen the guys compete. I watched them in the weight room competing with themselves, and that's probably the most important person you have to compete with is yourself. Are you disciplined enough to get up in the morning? The first thing you do is make your bed, start your day off. What kind of discipline do you have as an individual? So that's kind of what we're looking for. And I see those guys compete daily. I want to compete, on that'll carry over to the football field.
We feel like our chances are good. We did have a lot of guys that graduated, but we feel good about the guys that have come in that are filling those roles. We have a lot of players that may be new in some of those positions, but a lot of them were on the varsity last year, so this won't be their first year on the varsity. A lot of them were playing on the varsity as juniors and even sophomores this last year, so they do have some varsity experience, and we're kind of counting on that to pay off.
Well, we've got some new football players stepping into different roles. I'm really excited about our offensive line and the new guys we have, just because of their size and their work ethic and the leadership of Ty Johnson at center. I'm looking to see what Chad, and Corbin will do in that role as quarterback and how they'll lead our team down the field. We've got some experienced receivers, but not as far as starting receivers. So they're going to come in and fill those starting roles. So I'm really excited about the way we're going to look up front.
Semper impetus is Latin for always attack. And that's the style of football we want to play. We run a really, really fast-paced offense. We throw the ball all over the place, so we're always attacking. On defense, we like to call it guerrilla warfare because we're always moving, we're always hitting you from where you least suspect it with blitzes and coverages. And then on kicking, we're always doing surprise kicks, fake kicks, pooch kicks, onside. So we try and keep them on the defensive, keep them on their heels for 48 minutes.
Well, you know, last year we did have a good year. It was still not where we wanted it to be. You know, last year our goal was to not just make the playoffs, but to also win a playoff game. And so we fell 1 point short, you know, in accomplishing that goal. You know, this year we set a new goal. Our goal is to win a district championship. You know, being 4 years here in the program with the guys that are seniors starting out as freshmen, you know, when we came in here and kind of changed a lot of things up schematically and program-wise, and we feel like it's really time for that to really kick in and give us a chance to go compete for a district title.
Thanks for joining us today. If you know of a great story about Frenship ISD, let us know. Share your story ideas by calling or emailing. Also, be sure to follow Frenship ISD on Facebook and Twitter. We will see you on the next edition of Inside Frenship.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Blue